The Cigar Nerds Podcast.
And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe, and no Brad Jackson. We have the Ginger Avenger Amanda back with us on this special 4th of July episode. Happy America to you.
I was an English major, dear. It's America.
Yeah, Brad can't be here because he's too busy laying pipe, or he broke his pipe. I don't know, it was something plumbing related.
Wait a minute, what? I didn't hear that part. What?
There's a flood in his basement area, if you know what I mean. So he couldn't be here today. So luckily, you saw the movie we're going to talk about today. So
I will not say that out loud. So Brad has a PVC problem, or is it more like a pipe cleaner problem? Which kind of problem are we talking about here?
I don't know. Something broke. There was wetness.
Well, PVC is a little harder to break than pipe cleaner. So if it broke easily, we're talking like pipe cleaner.
So since this is should drop on the 4th of July, I figured I'd pick up a special American-ish cigar. This is the EP Carillo Pledge of Allegiance 2023 edition, which is kind of their special salute to America cigar. They only did 10 boxes of 1,000, or did...
I'm sorry?
Not 10 boxes. They did 1,776 boxes of 10 cigars each.
You've told me this fact 4 times, but you can't remember how to say it to get it out.
Yeah, I may have told you 4 times. It's the first time I'm telling the audience. Yeah. Remember, there's people listening to us talk. Yes, it's not just us bullshitting.
That's just why I sit here and run my mouth the whole time, because it's funny.
I should have brought a Nerf gun. Just shoot you when you get out of hand. But yeah, this is...
You'd run out of Nerf bullets very quickly.
I'll get one of those belt-fed ones. Yeah, this one has a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper with Ecuadorian binders grown from Connecticut seeds, and a 3-country filler blend from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and the United States. You know we're on camera, right?
Yes, I am aware.
Well, put the water gun down before you shoot something electronic.
I'm not going to shoot anything electronic. I'm going to shoot you.
I'm electronic. Don't tell the people. I'm just a robot, and this is a simulation.
What kind of batteries do you run off of exactly? Because
A123s. Same thing that my weapon lights.
Got good battery life. I haven't had to replace them once.
I'm solar. I go outside occasionally.
I'm nocturnal. I don't go outside.
So yeah, these are, like I said, special edition. They only make it a limited amount with some American tobaccos involved and some pretty sweet artwork. Each of the 1776 boxes are hand numbered. So if you happen to buy a whole box, it's kind of cool marking there. What are you smoking, since you're not joining me in my Yay America, because we've got very different palates.
That's very true. I'm smoking the Acid Plush, which has recently been my favorite so far. I was smoking the 20s and they just...
Sweet Janes. And
Sweet Janes are good, but the construction on the 20s has just not been there in a while, but I think I might be one of the only ones keeping them in the shop at all in the first place, so that might be why. Construction's just not been good recently, so.
Or if they've, these are all they've been there for a while, so it's
That's what I said.
I don't know if that's
I'm the only one keeping
continuing
it in
release.
Stock, and I'm not smoking them fast enough, apparently.
So, even though this is kind of our 4th of July episode, we're going to talk about something American-ish. It's an American movie based off a Japanese product. We're talking about the newest Transformers movie, Rise of the Beasts.
Everything American is originally Japanese or Chinese anyway. That freaking flag you got hanging there was I guarantee you it says made in China somewhere on that thing.
Probably. It did come from a graveyard.
You're looting graveyards now?
No, when they replaced the American flags on graves, someone came to our school and gave us the old flags that they had switched out from the ones that they had.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So there's a little dirt on the end of the stick, and yeah, I've had this thing for like 20 years. That's why it's kind of brownish at this point.
It kind of stands up on its own.
Yeah, so I figured I would hang it up for the 4th of July episode.
Up there, which was my handiwork, by the way.
You notice his new tie?
What happened?
It's a dad bod cigar band that is a tie.
Okay. Well.
So anyway, if
what
you're
you
gonna
should've done is
have
sit 'em down
to
here.
fight off Decepticons, you should call in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. And with that, we're gonna get right back into it. And welcome back. It's time to talk about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Metal! Autobots transform and roll out, Maximals maximize, depending on which cartoon you're currently watching.
Why, was there more than one with the Maximals in it? Or
The original kind of Maximals cartoon was Transformers Beast Wars back in, I want to say
that what this
early
is based on?
2000s. Well, they're all based on the Transformers, but this isn't.
Yeah, but isn't this movie based on the Beast Wars cartoon?
No.
I thought that's... No.
Beast Wars cartoon took place in dinosaur times.
Oh, okay.
They were a kind of a future Transformer who went through a portal and they end up crash landing on a unknown planet where it's like,
Which ends up being
dinosaurs,
Earth.
and eventually figure out they're on prehistoric Earth,
Okay.
which is kind of similar to, I guess, what happened here. But before we get into kind of the details of the movie, this is what, the 5th in the series, or no, actually more than that, because there was four of the original movies.
This is the 7th. There was 5 original movies.
Oh, there was 5. Fuck.
Yeah, there was 5 original movies following the same thing, and then Bumblebee was the 6th, starting like a reboot basically, but not.
Yeah, they're calling it a prequel series, but it seems almost more like a reboot because shit's not kind of fully tied into the movies that went before.
Yeah, there was 2 Shia LaBeouf and then 3. What's his name? 3 Shia LaBeouf and then 2 what's his name?
Marky Mark and the Autobot bunch.
Yes, that's it. Shia LaBeouf did 3, Shia LaBeouf did 3. Megan Fox did 2, and then Marky Mark became the star with his daughter after that.
And how many had Tyrese?
4,
Oh,
I think. Or was
probably.
I don't think he was in...
It's kind of fitting that Brad didn't make it because you're definitely more of the
Fan?
cinematic Transformers fan than I am.
I'm an addict.
I mean, I like the first couple, but then this shit got weird. That's why I'm kind of hoping this.
What do you mean got weird? How did it get weird?
All right, the last Marky Mark movie, Unicron was actually Earth, and we had to stop Unicron from waking up, not showing up and eating the Earth. They strayed a little too far from the source material in the last one.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I like the psychotic British murder bot, but other than
that was
that, the
good.
last movie was kind of fucky.
Nah, I liked the last movie. It was that floating psychotic bitch that was like, reprogramming Optimus's mind. That was, she was fucked up, but she was cool.
Yeah, the fucking wannabe Borg queen. I mean, I don't know. The last one.
That's it. That's what she reminded me of. She's a fucking Borg. That's it.
But yeah, all the kind of the earlier ones were directed by Michael Bay, and then when what they've been calling the prequel series, he's kind of stepped back and is just producing, where other people are coming in and directing these new movies. This one directed by Stephen Capel Jr.
They're gigantic sentient robots. You can do whatever the fuck you want with that storyline. You can take it however the hell you... One of them might have been Julia Child in a previous life. They can cook. Who knows? You can do whatever you want with it.
I don't know, but
all you had to do was slap some skin on that murder bot, and he could have been anybody's English butler. I mean,
that's like future Batman. Alfred's just a cyborg.
Could be. Kind of remind me of Alfred too.
I don't know, when you bring like classic stuff to life, I like where they at least kind of pay a tribute to the source material. I mean, they may come up with a brand new storyline,
okay,
but
so which is the one with the 6 different faces or 5 different faces? That's not Omicron.
Yeah, that's the no, not I don't know, but that's not even in this movie, so why the fuck are you talking about it?
Well, that's what I'm saying with your bringing it, because I thought that was the one they were saying was Omicron. Well, that's not fucking Omicron.
Who the fuck are you talking about, Omicron?
The one with the 4 faces or 5 faces.
Yes, but that wasn't in this movie,
yes,
so what are you talking about?
All right, shut up. Unicron, that's it.
Unicron's the big fucking planet.
Yes, I know, but I thought they were supposed to be the same.
No.
I didn't watch the original cartoons. I was watching My Little Ponies. Not My Little Ponies, but I watched Gummy Bears.
Unicron was always a big fucking planet, voiced by Leonard Nimoy, who eats other planets.
Okay.
And this one kind of... I mean, if you've watched the... Hell, you watched the whatever, the 89 Transformers animated movie.
I think I saw it once, but the kids have seen it like...
on freaking repeat.
100... Oh, yeah. It's kind of funny, though. What year did that movie come out?
It was in the late 80s.
So around the same time you and I were born, somewhere around in there, and the kids have seen it 950 times.
I was 10, I think, when that movie came out. I was born in the 70s.
Late 70s.
So, yeah, I was 10 in 89. Or whenever that shit came out.
I was 7.
But, yeah, unfortunately... Leonard Nimoy has passed, so they couldn't bring him back to voice Unicron again. Which they've done one props I will give the series is, where possible, the original voice actors have also voiced the robots. But some of them has since passed. But Peter Cullen is still voicing Optimus Prime.
Now,
so
see,
it's
when
like
Optimus Prime does not when they have to replace the voice actor for Optimus Prime, then I probably won't watch anymore. Until then.
So yeah,
I will see them all.
We had to get a new Unicron this time around, voiced by Coleman Domingo.
I don't remember him saying a whole lot anyway.
Well, he was always talking to or threatening
his little henchman, his little bitch boy.
Yeah, Scourge.
Oh yeah, they did give him a name, didn't they?
Which played by the Dink, Peter Dinklage.
I know, and that was so fucked up when I looked that up. You didn't believe me at first.
It didn't sound like Dinklage.
It doesn't sound like Dinklage.
And that's the thing, too, is kind of weird about this movie, and we'll start getting into specifics here shortly, so spoiler alerts. Huge cast, but no one that you see. It's like the humans, because for some reason they never do a movie just about the Transformers. They always have to have some kind of human sidekick for the audience to kind of connect with. And in this movie...
Because it's easier to walk among humans if you look like a human. Like I said, you throw some skin on that murder bot, and he can go be the go-between. But you look like a car. People are not going to hand you important documents and files.
Well, I meant for the audience sake. Like, the audience needs, like, I guess, a human sidekick to connect, because it's going to be hard for us to connect to a movie just about robots for 2 hours.
No, it's not. I feel more for the robots than I do the humans anyway.
But yeah, it's like, the cast in this movie was huge, but you wouldn't know it by watching the movie, because there's no, like, kind of big celebrities in it that I'm aware of. I mean, the main character...
What's his name didn't even do a cameo either.
Who?
It's supposed to be before his time, I guess. Agent Simmons, or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got... we already said freaking Dinklage as Scourge. You got Ron Perlman as Optimus Primus. Primal. Optimus Primus.
Primus?
It's a good band, but... but yeah, Pete Davidson is Mirage, which are kind of our new main sidekick to the human character.
I mean, he had personality, but Bumblebee's better.
You got David Sobolov as Rhinox, Battletrap, and a Palink, which was another Maximal leader that Michael J. Rodriguez as Nightbird, Cisco Fernandez as Wheeljack.
And Michelle Yao.
Yeah, Michelle Yao as Air Razor. And of course, tons of movie quotes as Bumblebee. Because they've established in this universe that Bumblebee don't talk. He speaks with through his radio.
Bumblebee's voice circuits were damaged and we haven't been able to fix them yet. That's what's going on. See, you shouldn't have had me do this with you. I am too invested in these movies. I have a Bumblebee light up pillow in the bedroom.
Who is the here we go. Humans. I'm looking under Transformers. Anthony Ramos as Noah, who is our main human protagonist in this, as a ex-military electronics expert who's down on his luck trying to find a job because his family, his little brother's got
cerebral palsy, cerebral palsy.
Yeah, some
or cystic fibrosis, one
yeah,
or two.
Can't remember which, but yeah, he has some kind of medical sickle cell disease.
Sickle cell, that's it. One of the C's.
Yeah, and then Dominique Fishback as Elena, who is a artifacts research intern at a museum who knows more than the scientists she's working with.
Well, that's usually how it works. You usually have to have some underlings you can glean knowledge from and run and fetch your coffee. It's kind of nice that he did diversify this time. It's not a white guy. I mean, it's not always a white guy.
And it was where the previous ones have been West Coast centric. This one was set, on the East Coast. So we got a lot of that. The things I have liked about the prequels series is the Bumblebee one was set in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And the Transformers actually look like the original Gen 1 Transformers that we grew up with. And at the end of the, because he starts off as a VW Bug. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the only connection to the later movies that as at the end of it, because, he's kind of not so in disguise anymore. He transforms into the 60s Camaro that you see in the later, or no, man, not 60s, anyway, an old ass Camaro that you see him as in the beginning of the new Transformers movies. Mm-hmm. So yeah, pretty much everyone with the exception of Bumblebee looks like they did when we originally saw them in the cartoons. Well, this one has jumped 10 years, I think, ahead from the last one. And now it's the 90s.
Something, yeah.
So it's like all the music in the soundtrack, if nothing else, I'm like, oh, this is the sound of my childhood. Because, yeah, I didn't listen to a whole lot of music in the 80s because I was real young. But, yeah, I was a teenager in the 90s. So I'm like, all this, East Coast rap and shit. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember all these songs, man. Fucking Wu-Tang, yep. LL Cool J. I was like,
yes.
Yeah, as Jay says, this is how we did things in the 90s, son.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
So if nothing else, if you're a child of the 90s, the movie soundtrack is gonna be right up your alley.
Fashion was a little hit or miss. They didn't quite get 90s style down very well, but I
guess. Did we have style in the 90s?
Yes, we had style. It wasn't
I just remember Jinko pants and shit.
We had style. It wasn't great, but it was style.
I mean, there was grunge. It's like, I don't know. It's like, you talk about different decades. I can recognize 80s attire, but when you say the 90s, I'm like, shit, I'm pretty sure I'm wearing the same shit I was wearing in the 90s. Just a different size. Graphic tees and cargo shorts. It's a style that never goes goes out of style.
Yeah, well, okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I was never the flannel wearing grunge people and the
I was.
The Jinko jeans were just
was.
No, that's just too big. I don't want.
It's not. No, it's not.
I was driving 4-wheelers and shit. I didn't want anything that would get caught in the caught in the wheels of my vehicle and fuck me up.
No, I wore that shit.
I've always been, dressed tactically.
I wore that shit. I had a couple of pairs of, they weren't Jinkos because Jinkos were expensive and I couldn't get my parents to buy them for me, but I had a couple of pairs that were similar.
Yeah, those were the shoplifting jeans because,
you just lost your mic.
What are you talking about?
I can't hear you anymore.
Testing.
I think you're mic.
Yeah, those were the shoplifting pants because they had the pockets you could fit a full bottle of whiskey in.
There you went again. We have it.
And let's see how long my microphone will stay plugged in. Oh, maybe time to. I mean, we've been using these for.
To upgrade this set.
Yeah, we've been using this for several years now, so it may be time to buy some new mics before Dragon Con. If it goes out again, I'll switch it out because we've got a couple extra here.
Okay. I didn't shoplift in my Jinko pants. I just wore them because they were cool.
Now, everyone I hung out with that had them were like the skater dudes, and yeah, you could put a full bottle of wine or whatever in the back pocket of those things, and
We hung out with the same people.
yes,
Part of it anyway.
They were all dirt
No,
bags.
they weren't. Not all of them.
It's funny because the ones that were dirt bags are like upstanding citizens. Like a few of them are like firefighters and cops, and the ones that were the squeaky clean guys have all like turned into drug dealers and dirt bags later in life.
Not all of them.
Everything has switched.
A couple of them.
So yeah, this movie starts with Unicron coming to eat a planet that is inhabited by the Maximals because they have a new MacGuffin, the Transwarp Drive, which allows you to basically open portals and transport anywhere in time and space, like
Okay, now if we're
TARDIS
talking
piece or
about
something.
like whether this is a reboot versus a prequel, that thing looked an awful lot like the what was it called? The
Matrix of Leadership.
Matrix, yeah, the Matrix of Leadership. It looked a very similar, like, I don't know.
Well, maybe they were all designed by the same dude.
It looked like the same thing.
Yeah, so Unicron wants that so he can just kind of hop around the universe eating at will, and the Maximals decide to warp out of there to keep Unicron from getting a hold of it, and apparently land sometime in Earth's past and have been hiding it in the various locations around the world. Peru and,
Peru and
I think it was like Egypt is where they found the other hunk of it.
Yeah, maybe. Was it Egypt? Yeah, I think it might have been Egypt. I don't remember.
Yeah, so the
Peru looked nice though. Wouldn't mind going there. That was pretty.
and so our homeboy Noah, who has not been able to find a new job, decides to take up crime because sometimes crime is how you solve things.
I mean, if your motives are correct enough, you might sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and it.
So he goes to basically like a rich people's party to steal a car, and sees an old 911 Porsche Turbo in the garage that he. Yeah.
I think that's what he was sent after. Yeah,
because
Buddy told him where it was.
He's
so
like, it's been parked there
for
a while. Like, it's easy money. But unfortunately, it was a Transformer, and he tried to carjack Mirage.
If a car like that's been sitting in the same place for a long time, doesn't have any dust on it, it's probably a Transformer. You can probably bet that's a Transformer.
So, yeah, unfortunately for him, while he is stealing said car, Elena,
car steals him.
who's at the museum looking at a artifact that she doesn't agree with the scientists that it's from where they think it is, and accidentally opens it up and finds half of the transwarp drive hidden inside, which sets off a beacon that apparently only bots can see. So Optimus summons all the Transformers to a meeting, and Noah gets to go along for the ride.
I mean,
and it's a very different. We're used to seeing Optimus, pun intended, in his prime, where he's like the badass leader that we all know. But this is a Prime that got his ass kicked on Cybertron and kind of regrouped on Earth and got his team kind of stranded here. So he's got some self-doubt that is unusual for the character.
He's dealing with some depression. He's got some depression issues that
and he's not too keen on humans being involved.
Not confident and filled with the love of humanity.
Yeah, but I feel like by the end of this movie, we're seeing more of the Prime we're used to seeing. And shout out to Peter Cullen for being able to kind of do things differently. I mean, he's been doing this character for 40 fucking years at this point. It's nice seeing that he can still that ranged as an actor that he can, do a different perspective on Optimus than what we've previously seen.
Yeah, he's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of in his feelings a little bit. Kind of in his feels just a little bit to begin with. I hate humans. They're jerks.
But of course,
Well, yeah, they are. But still.
The beacon also attract, the kind of reminds me of the Silver Surfer from Marvel. He was the guy who went before Galactus to prepare planets to be eaten by Galactus.
Okay. I didn't watch that one either. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no frame of reference here.
Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. Anyway.
I know who they are now, but I don't know what. I have no context for this.
So yeah, Scourge and his two sidekicks show up and
fucking purple bitch, man. She was just an asshole. I didn't like her.
And of course they fuck up Bumblebee in the badass.
Oh no, don't go there.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, are we really gonna kill Bumblebee in the opening of this movie?
I'm still kind of bitter about that shit. Don't go there.
They gave him like an epic return later in the movie. We'll get to that because that's probably one of the fucking highlights.
Yeah, but they whooped his ass like bad. Which is kind of funny too, because RC is this little tiny little thing, but she got a mouth and an attitude on her, which I like. But she a tiny little thing, and she held her own.
Oh, speaking of which, shout out to the Cybertronic Spree. This is the first time seeing RC in live action. I kept waiting for Hot Rod to show up. I mean, if we're gonna go 80s Transformers the movie, I was like, all right, when's Hot Rod gonna show up?
Hot Rod was in the last original movie. He was the one that, he's the one that kidnapped the British girl. My name is Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, I forgot
with a
about
French
that.
accent. For some reason, he's French. He got a French accent.
That's probably why I don't remember that, because he looked nothing like Hot Rod.
Yeah, he was in the movie.
Oh. But yeah, like freaking RC as I think she was like a Ducati or something. Like
something
she was
like that.
Some fancy street bike. And I like how when like she's transformed, there's like a holographic like dude riding her, because motorcycle riding down the street, you would be like, I mean, cars can tint their windows and be like, I don't need a driver. No one can see inside my car except for when the cops pull me over for tint violation.
But when Mirage does it, he gives them each a different facial expression. And one of them's over there, yeah, fuck you, and the other one's just,
that was pretty cool when they're running from the cops and he's like, he's like, stop, please stop, and they finally stop and get surrounded by the cops. Like, okay, never mind, drive. And he does like the projection thing and like, becomes 5 different cars and they all go in different directions and shit, which is like a Mirage special. I
mean, even the friggin' cop car one that I can't remember what his name is from the first movie.
Prowl.
Yeah, he projected a cop, but it wasn't 6 different cops in 6 different cars with each one a different facial expression and hanging out,
Well, in the original cartoons and stuff, Mirage was like a espionage expert, so he was good at like doing the holograms and shit, so he can sneak in places or passes different vehicles and whatnot.
Still don't understand how he managed to make him manifest himself as a dump truck, but that's just, we had that conversation.
Well, you've already seen that he can do projections. He could be projecting a
You can't
garbage
project
truck.
your seat 5 feet higher and have somebody sit on it. It doesn't work that way. That's not how a hologram works.
If he can do 5 different cars with 5 different drivers, I'm pretty sure he can project the image of a garbage truck around him while he's still normal size.
Okay, whatever. We're gonna disagree here. We're gonna agree to disagree.
It's not that hard.
You're gonna go watch a couple of episodes in Jim and the Holograms, and we're gonna discuss this later.
Oh God! Did you ever watch that live action movie of that?
No, I did not watch the live action movie, but
Neither
I watched
did I.
the entire fucking series.
I think I did watch the series because it came out like I think it came on like after like Thundercats or something. So it's like, I'm here. I'm just gonna keep watching.
I watched Jim and the Holograms.
Music was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good shit.
I'll at least give it props on that for being a kind of a girly show. It had decent music.
The Misfits music was usually better.
I mean, I always think the villains are more interesting.
Yeah, usually.
And they were a little bit more metal.
Yeah, they were.
So, in the middle of this fight, we get our first Maximal showing up. Badass Michelle Yeoh as the as RC, or not RC, Air Razor, which is a big ass
hawk
or something.
Kind of looks like a hawk. You gotta love that they're adding a few females in there. We gotta have a couple of. Give me a female Transformer and make her not a bitch like that purple one. I like female Transformers.
So yeah, they figure out that Scourge only has half of the transwarp drive, and the other one is possibly hidden in a temple in Peru. So we're gonna have to go fly to Peru, and of course, the humans gonna tag along to help out, because we're
gonna get that big ass 100-year-old bomber plane.
It looked. I was like,
it looks
blue?
like he's fucking falling apart.
Yeah. Stratosphere, voiced by John DiMaggio, who voiced all cartoons nearly, shows up and he's like, "That's how we're going to transport ourselves to Peru." But it looks like the plane from Tailspin.
Yeah, it does.
As soon as they're like, "So we taking a boat, a plane?" They're like, "Oh no, we got a plane." And then that old ass shows up and kind of like crash lands. He's like, "Oh, we're all going to die." But it's
you're missing the orange paint job, or he would have been from Tailspin. We're just gonna bring up all the 80s cartoons.
Yeah, because I was like,
90s
blue?
cartoons while we're at it.
And I like when he transformed, he looked like an old British guy. Had like a sweet mustache and and everything.
Yeah, that accent was kind of thick. I didn't even understand half of what he was saying, but it was good.
Yeah, they brought fucked up Bumblebee, because it's like, so your eyes like, is he dead? I'm like, no, it's like Miracle Max and the Princess Bride. He's only mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
I can fix mostly dead. We just need to find some energon to jumpstart him.
And you can only do it for true love, because that's the most important. We're going all kind of old school in this shit today. We're just getting all kind of tangled up in.
So yeah, they
Miracle Max.
Straight up Indiana Jones, find or almost like Tomb Raider, find the secret temple underneath a church in Peru. And
that goes 1,000,000 miles down and has tunnels that run all the way out into the rainforest, because that's how they all do.
But the warp drive has been moved, and apparently it's Maximals have bonded with some humans, and they're guarding it somewhere out in the jungle. But you get it's funny too, because like forget. If you remember, like in the old 80s cartoons, like they gave like their human companion some kind of like exosuit, where when Noah and Elena go to explore the temple, since the bots can't get close enough, he's like, Mirage like tosses him a little like gauntlet thing. He's like, "Hey man, take this." He's like, "Whoa," and he's like, "Yeah, just don't ask what part of my body that came off of."
Take this. It's not safe to go alone.
Yeah.
Gotta throw them there, not early 90s, early 80s.
Not like that. They're running from Scourge's little spider bot things, and finally he just like blows one up, and she's like, "You've had a gun this whole time," and he's like,
"Guess so.
Didn't know it."
It's my pinky toe, man. It's fine. Just the pinky toe. You need it for balance, but it's fine. You'll make it
it's
without.
His left nut.
I knew that's where we were gonna go with this. And I let it happen. I'm sorry, y'all. I let it happen.
Oh, but yeah, we get when they find the Maximal.
I married him for his charming personality. Trust me, it's in there. You just don't see it all the time.
Oh, but yeah, meet Prime, and even Primal's like, it's kind of not the.
Did you just say meet Prime?
Yeah, meet Prime.
Okay.
As in meat. Not MEAT.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, just grade A premium.
Grade A prime.
USDA
meat,
choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And vengeful Prime too. Like when he's runs into Scourge again, he's like, "I'm the one that's going to fucking rip your spine out." Yep. And even like Optimus Prime was like, "It's kind of not the Prime the legendary Prime that we, because they're supposed to be from." The future.
Depression can kick off some anger issues.
I mean, Optimus Primal was named after Prime, and like I said, he's supposed to be kind of their future. And so they're like, "Yeah, this is not the legend that we heard of. He's kind of a little bit
dick."
But yeah, he's going through some shit. Mm-hmm. But they've built their village around a natural energon deposit. But he's like, well, we'll put Bumblebee in this cave to protect him, but we can't. The electron's inert, or energon is inert. You know, we need a powerful charge to reactivate it, so we can't use it now. Foreshadowing.
But it's here. And we're going to lay him down on a pyre made of straight up energon, and we're just going to leave him here. This is
foreshadowing.
You gotta have Bumblebee or you don't have the franchise, because everybody loves Bumblebee.
Oh, and I love too when they were all like Prime summoning all the Autobots to the meeting. When you see Bumblebee, he's like, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother," and then like cuts out for you. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is the 90s. Bumblebee just said yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And to me, it didn't even sound like the John McClane quote. It sounded like the Hans Gruber when he's like, what was that you said to me earlier? Oh, yes.
Sarcastic.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You spend too much time at a drive-thru driving my boy.
Yeah, they're arguing later, and he's like...
Grounded from the drive-in.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want humans involved. And Bumblebee's like, says something to him, and he's like, I know they're your friends, Bumblebee, and he's like, you can't handle the truth. And Prime's like, dude, you got to stop hanging out at that drive-in. I don't want you watching these movies anymore.
Human culture is imprinting on you a little too deeply, my son. Well, if that was a problem, then maybe you should have fixed his fucking voice circuits, because he can't talk otherwise.
Oh. But yeah, you get and I like Scourge as they're kind of fleeing the big city fight, hits Airazor with some kind of bomb that basically corrodes her and eventually like takes her over and makes her evil. But dude, she's looking like straight zombie Airazor by the time she can't fight it anymore and has to turn on the Maximals. And like the effects in this movie were
corroding
cool.
her somehow.
Yeah.
Scourge is made of something that if you touch him...
Well, it's like, how do you visually depict corruption? You know, basically the thing is hacking her spark to turn her evil, but that wouldn't be visually entertaining. So you got to depict, the corruption with like actual physical corruption. So she's like all...
Well, it's the same way you can do anything else that gets corrupted. They glitch. You get that glitch all of a sudden, and when the computers start, tweaking a little bit, then yeah, something's wrong with you. You're out of commission. Yeah,
but I do like how Optimus Primal, who was named after the great leader Prime, kind of taught Prime how to be a leader. He's like, dude, I've been living with humans for freaking centuries at this point, probably, and you got it kind of, even though he's technically younger, I guess, he's like, he's like, you need some experience, my son. Let me teach you the lessons that you taught me. That
sit down. I'm gonna show you the ways.
Teach you.
Show you the ways of the codependency between humans and machines.
So of course the Scourge, I forgot what they called their bad, because they weren't Decepticons. They were like Terracons or something. Something like that.
They were assholes. They were electronic assholes.
In the cartoon, the the animal Decepticons were the Predacons, but we didn't get any Predacons in this movie. There was no.
That's for the next movie.
Yeah.
You gotta keep building on and building on. That's for the next one.
But yeah, I like Mirage kind of, we think, sacrificing himself, like taking some hits to protect, because like little brother too has got, when he goes, before they're gonna go to Peru, he has to like go back home and grab his bag and make sure his brother's okay, and his fucking Mirage is trying to peek in the window and steps on a car and sets off the alarm
and squashes it.
And then he's like, man, we gotta go do this thing, save the world. And the brother's like, all right, man, like, I'm going with you. And he's like, nah, dude, you can't go with me. And like, that freaking Mirage is like, dude, you've got the giant cojones. And he's like, all right, man, you take care of my brother. If he doesn't come back, I'm coming for you.
I'm gonna get your ass. That's how it is with siblings. I can beat them all I want. I can beat them to bloody pulps all day and day out. But if you touch my siblings, I'm going to rip your spine out and use it for a head ornament.
And I like later on, he's like calls Noah Sonic, and he's like, why are you calling me Sonic? That's what my brother calls me. He's like, oh yeah, like your brother gave me the walkie-talkie that y'all communicate with, so he could like make sure I'm
listening in this.
Make sure I'm taking care of you. And he's like, yeah, because there's like no real names over the comms, man. Like you're Sonic, I'm Tails.
Yep.
Which kind of plays on later on, but yeah, Mirage has to like cover himself to cover Noah to and gets blasted all to shit to and he's like, I don't think I'm gonna make it, and he's talking to his brother and he's like, dude, like you're Noah of the Bronx, man, like man up. Like he's like, what? I thought you said no names on the radio. He's like, nah, brah, tell him who you are. And then freaking Mirage,
you are not portraying New Yorkers well, man. You're making us look like shit.
You gotta save the world, bro.
Stop acting like a pussy and get up.
And Mirage wakes up enough to be like, hey man, I'm good, but I'm gonna need you to take the wheel. And then basically becomes like his exosuit, and Homeboy gets to like actually fight along the side of the Transformer. I mean, in the Transformers movie, like the original, like Spike, I think it is, got a fucking exosuit like that. So it's
but it's not.
It's been in Transformers canon.
It's not the Transformer that becomes the exoskeleton. It's a separate entity. Here, I'm gonna take my left ass cheek off and make it into this exoskeleton for you. That's fine, but it's not the entire goddamn Transformer.
Well, he already had his arms and legs blown off. He was basically a torso and a head, so that's about all he could build at that point. And then, Homeboy starts fucking shit up, and then, Prime and Primal join the fight. Yeah, fucking Prime versus Scourge, like, second round. He's like rams his face into a volcano, and, like, he's like, rips his head and spine out. And he's like, I told you I was gonna rip your fucking spine out.
I'm okay with a darker Optimus Prime, okay? If you want to go whoop some ass, go whoop some ass. I mean, there is a level of evil where you cannot be redeemed. Just fucking murder him. Tear him into little pieces. I'll use him as a toaster. I don't fucking care. What?
Let's get closer to your mic.
Oh, okay. Your chair is sinking, and I'm sinking away here.
Yeah, but like that kind of group fight, and here comes the rain. So
yeah, it's fucking pouring now.
Yeah, that group fight trying to stop to close the gates and then you
get that little scorpion-looking motherfucker chasing the girl. Yeah, chasing the girl up through the tube because she's trying to get to the drive or whatever to turn it off. And she knocks the shit out of that little motherfucker and just, beats the hell out of him. It was great.
But of course,
like takes her purse and knocks his ass out with the purse.
Blows up the control panel so they can't turn it off. So the only way to turn it off is to blow it up. And before that, once it's activated, it sends out an energy pulse.
Yep.
Remember foreshadowing, which activates the dormant energon in the cave. So in the middle of this battle, when it starts to look like the Transformers are going to lose, I mean, fucking Noah's getting his ass kicked, Prime's starting to get his ass kicked. Here comes freaking Stratosphere, and you're like, oh no, I know what's about to happen. And you see his back door open up, and there's Bumblebee, and it starts playing fucking LL Cool J. It's like, don't call it a comeback. And it's like, fuck yes.
I still say that
starts playing Mama Said Knock You Out. And I mean, it's a great song for a fight scene. I mean, Bumblebee shows up and starts like stacking bodies.
If there's this much fucking Energon, then Razor Crest, what's her fucking name? Razor Crest? No.
Air Razor.
If there's that much fucking dormant Energon laying around, then it should have been enough to fucking revive her ass too.
But she was all the way dead. Bumblebee was just mostly dead.
Bumblebee was all the way dead. He'd been dead for a goddamn week.
He was in a coma.
He was dead.
He was in a coma.
He was dead. He'd been dead for a fucking week. She'd been dead for half a day.
But he was laying on a cube of Energon. She was not.
She was laying on a mountain full of Energon. The whole fucking ground had Energon laced through it. She should have been reincarnated too.
Maybe she was. We just didn't see it. But yeah, Bumblebee jumping out of Stratosphere, playing freaking LL Cool J. I was like, that was the moment in the movie where you're like, fuck yes. It does the superhero landing, and then then starts quoting "They Live." It's like, I'm here to kick ass.
Yep.
And they left out the chew bubblegum part.
Well, Transformers don't chew bubblegum.
Grind, it gets sticky up
Sticks
the
in the
gears.
gears, and you got to get somebody to dig it out, and it's just not.
We saw what happened when Vision tried to eat bubblegum.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Oh.
He
Yeah.
had enough problems with all his vocal shit. He don't need no bubblegum to mess it up even further.
Yeah, when Bumblebee shows up with fucking playing LL Cool J, I was like, fuck yes. Do you think he's actually he's literally like blasting music while he fights? It's not just for us in the theater.
No,
it's like
he's definitely. I mean, you don't get.
It's like when Tony Stark shows up and starts blasting fucking AC/DC through all the speakers he can connect to. He's like, I got to make an entrance.
If you don't get that many lines, especially not lines of your own, you don't get any lines of your own. You might as well play your own theme song. It's just the way it works.
Don't call it a comeback. But yeah, that's like kind of the highlight of 80s or 90s music. I was like, fuck yes, this sound, like, if nothing else, Wu-Tang and LL Cool J, the movie's got a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because we all knew Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with.
And LL Cool J is just fucking hot.
I like him on NCS LA. It's kind of like Ice
I
Cube.
would
He
like
does
him
way
in
more acting now than he does music, and
I would
good
like
at it.
him in a paper bag. I don't give a fuck. You can do a fucking Pepto-Bismol commercial, and it's fine.
hell, he probably has. I don't know. He's done a lot of shit.
I'm going to do Alka-Seltzer voiceover. Go right on ahead, because goddamn.
So yeah, Unicron is on his way to Earth, and Prime has to, you think, sacrifice himself because blowing up the their only way home to save humanity is gonna
Prime's
cause a
got
big
some
boom.
suicidal problems. He wants to be taken. He wants to take himself out every fucking time, every fucking movie. They're gonna kill me. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to die for this. I'm going to give myself up. God damn it! They saved me fucking again. Jesus fucking Christ! What does it take to fucking die around here?
So yeah, when he
Here,
blows it up,
push the cube into my chest, okay?
it kind of causes an implosion, I guess, and everything starts getting sucked into the closing portal. But Noah, representing humanity, shows up to hold on to him, and then, of course, Optimus Primal shows up, and he's like, "To all are one, brother," and pulls Prime out of the thing, and fucking Noah jumps on Prime's back, uses his rocket boosters, like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yep, let's go. It's time to go.
We got to race this collapsing implosion here.
Prolapsed what now?
Prolapse space anus.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Unicron does look like a space butthole.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we didn't get maybe the next movie because they didn't kill Unicron. They just trapped him in whatever galaxy he was already in. We didn't get Unicron in his robot form, which always looks cool as shit. Especially when he's playing
other ones either.
Especially when he's playing a guitar. Oh, never mind. That's just Cybertronic Spree. Unicron shreds, man.
Yes, but you just told me it's not the same motherfucker.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Unicron is
Yes.
the one with multiple faces,
No,
correct?
Unicron is the one with the big fucking wings
Oh.
that plays lead guitar in
Oh, okay.
Cybertronic Spree. That's the
so-
robot form of Unicron.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember what the multi-face guy is called.
Well, we haven't seen him yet in one of the movies either, and I want to see him because he's pretty cool.
Good thing I have a computer there, so we don't have to
Guess and look stupid like we don't know what we're talking about.
So yeah, you keep talking. What did you like about this movie?
I liked all of it, but I like all the Transformers. I've been addicted to the Transformers movies, and I didn't watch the cartoons much. Like I said, I was Gummy Bears and stuff like that. I didn't get into the cartoons very much, but the fucking movies.
Quintesson.
Quint. Okay, that's right, because he's got 5 faces, so
Yeah.
it's Quint. That's it.
Innocent.
What?
That's the only thing he ever says is innocent or guilty, because in the 80s cartoon movie, they were like the judges
Oh.
at the trial.
Oh, you mean so it's a they?
Well, he's got multiple faces, and there were more than one of them in the cartoon. So yeah, there was like a group of Quintessons. They weren't just one Quintesson.
So we're saying we have non-binary robots. Is that what we're saying? We have they robots?
Well, most programming is binary. It's all a series of ones and zeros.
Go fuck yourself. Doing a little Pride tie-in, and you done fucked it up.
How was last month? This month it's 4th of July.
It's always Pride. Pride is always. We are legitimately positive here.
Oh, but yeah. And then we get the Earth is saved. Prime has learned to be a leader. Mirage he's fucked up, but he's fixable. And we get
Bumblebee's good as new or better because
he
just got
a little
he went to
energon
the
boost.
spa and got all of his shit, all of his chemicals redone, and all this.
I like
oil
off-road Camaro version where he was like a little lifted, had those big mud tires on him. That looked like some Mad Max shit.
A little bit.
Oh, because it's like Transformers, things that need roads. Fuck, we're in the jungle.
Fuck it, we don't need roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Might as well throw another 80 quote in there.
But in the
90s, whatever.
Kind of.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
So after they get back,
just plutonium.
Noah goes on another job interview because he's trying to get a security job at some looks like food supply warehouse or something. And of course, he sees Elena got credit for discovering the jungle temple.
The jungle temple, the ruins.
So now she's famous and whatnot, and he's still looking for a job. So gets an interview with this kind of shady looking dude.
And
he's like,
it's a front. It looks like a front. It's obviously a front.
And he's like, so just to be honest, your resume's a little thin here. He's like, yeah, well, I was working overseas recently. He's like, yeah, tell me about that. Well,
private job. I was doing some private,
It was a lot of work, but mostly just work. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of disappointing, man. I heard the food in Peru is great. And he's like,
I didn't say Peru.
I didn't say Peru. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I work for a secret government agency who would like to hire you, and we want your whole team. The big guys. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, yeah, that's a good answer, kid. And just hands him a business card. And I'm expecting it to say Sector 7, which was the government guys from the previous movies. And he gets up.
It hadn't been created yet. I don't remember if they showed up in Bumblebee or not. So maybe that had Sector 7 was.
Yeah, they were. They were the army guys that were chasing him at the first of the movie. But yeah, so he gets up and he's like, by the way, your brother's medical expenses are taken care of, and he'll be seeing doctors that don't ask how much this costs. He's like, why are you doing it? He's like, whether you take the job or not, we're taking care of him. Let's just call it thanks from a grateful nation because y'all saved the fucking
world,
planet.
So we're going to.
And then he gets up and hits a button on one of the plaques on his wall, and the whole back office opens up, and you see some big ass garage.
All
and
that
he's
80s wood paneling falls to the side that's covered in plaques.
And he's like,
oh look, it's a freaking.
By the way, your brother was right. He's like, right about what? He's like, yeah, no real names over comms. And then he looks at the business card and it says G.I. Joe, and you're like, fuck yes.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna lose it when you saw that G.I. Joe business card. You're like, oh my god. It's like,
yes, that's the new movie crossover. I want to see fucking Transformers and G.I. Joe together, which I think they did a comic book series of that back in the day.
Well, maybe they'll do a movie of it now.
I mean, the last couple first G.I. Joe movie was meh. The second one was pretty good, but yeah, if they're kind of rebooting that too, and we get 90s G.I. Joe Transformers crossover.
Hey, it could be a thing. That could be a thing.
I just wonder what Noah's code name will be, because all the G.I. Joes had code names.
Fucking Gypsy Rose. We're gonna pull the fucking whatever else is in there too.
Well, he's like a Comtech or something, so he's like, I'm trying to remember some of the G.I. Joe had a Comtech, I think. So it's he's going to be like Cypher or some, one of the old, funny he gets a real G.I. Joe name. He's like, oh, fuck. I know that guy. I had that toy.
Yeah, well, you got more experience on that than I do, but I'm definitely the bigger Transformers fan, but that's...
Well, that's the problem with the first G.I. Joe movie. None of their, equipment looked like the toys. Whereas the second movie, they started bringing in more of the G.I. Joe merchandise, I guess. Some of the shit looked like, especially the Cobra stuff, looked like the Cobra shit from the cartoon. But yeah, I want to see the straight up shit that looks like G.I. Joe shit.
No, I don't know what G.I. Joe shit looked like, so I'm a little bit of a loss there. But
Oh, and we got whatever Wheeljack, the VW Bug Transformer.
no, what was his name? It was not Wheeljack.
Yeah, it was Wheeljack. I'm looking at the list here.
Okay.
Uh,
He had wings. You can't tell me he wasn't a little fruity, okay? He had butterfly wings the entire fucking movie. He is fighting with fucking butterfly wings hanging off his back.
He was a pink VW Bug. Maybe.
They intended to release it during
VW Bus, not Bug.
They intended to release it during Pride Month. We had some we had some Pride characters in there. We had fucking butterfly wings. The whole goddamn fight, he's fighting everybody off with fucking wings hanging off of his back. Like, oh, look at the butterflies. Yeah, he's a little ugh.
Where else are you going to put your doors?
I don't know. Where'd the rest of them put their doors?
Mostly hanging out their back.
They did not. That was attractive.
So, any highlights this here film? Any new characters we didn't get last time around that you enjoyed? I like Darcy seeing her live action. That was cool,
now,
especially when she's like hanging out the.
Didn't she show up in one of the original ones? Wasn't she one of the bikes in one of the?
I don't think so. If she was, she didn't look like RC. Because that was kind of my complaint of the newer Transformers. They didn't look like their original designs. They may have had the same name, but this time she straight up looked like RC from the movie.
What's RC stand for anyway?
I don't know. They just all have. It's not like R2D2. We just call them R2. But no, they just all have names. Where's Cup? That's who we need.
Who's Cup?
He was like the old military Jeep that was kind of Hot Rod's mentor.
Oh.
He was the grumpy old man Transformer.
Oh. Hot Rod was still back trying to keep Murderbot from killing everybody. That's why he wouldn't show up in this one. He was too busy trying to keep fucking little
Rodimus Prime.
C-3PO with a fucking attitude and a murder complex. He was trying to keep him under control.
And when are we going to get Optimus Prime's trailer in one of these movies?
There you go.
He's always trailerless.
You gotta be unencumbered if you're gonna fight a bunch of motherfuckers and pull people's spines out. You can't have a bunch of extra shit hanging on if you're gonna do that.
And he had his freaking Energon axe too, which was always a cool accessory.
That was fucking cool. I liked that. I don't know why he still doesn't have that.
I need a battle axe in my collection. I need a tomahawk or a battle axe. I don't have one of those.
Yes, if you can have one that lights up bright fucking orange along the arc with fucking magma, basically, then yeah, you can do that.
Wasn't a no. All right, who can build me an Energon axe?
There you go.
And then our post-credits scene of, we don't know quite yet if Noah has joined G.I. Joe, but he's piecing together a Porsche in his garage with, looks like a ton of different parts, but...
Yeah, with the buddy that tried to get him in trouble by making him steal Mirage in the first place. Motherfucking Twizzler man that's got a candy habit. That man had a Twizzler in his mouth the entire fucking... We had to stop and get Twizzlers on the way home just because of that motherfucker.
Good fucking product placement. It was...
We had a 5-pound bag of Twizzlers in the house that's gone now.
Oh. But yeah, of course, he's like, man, I bet you that thing won't even start. And hands him the keys. He's like, bet. He's like, hey, Mirage. And then freaking he just transforms. He's like, dude, didn't think I would start, huh? And the dude's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but you look like shit, brother. You might need to get some
We may need to get you a paint job or something.
You look like shit.
At least, project a fresh coat of paint on you. Because right now, you look...
There's your reason exactly for why Bumblebee started out. It started out as the yellow Volkswagen because it was the teenage girls. So, it's an appropriate car for a teenage girl. And then you get Shia LaBeouf as a teenage boy who's just getting a car. He's not going to drive a fucking Volkswagen Bug.
Well, he
Camaro,
started off as the 80s Camaro and then changed to the brand new Camaro. Which, I don't know how many of those yellow fucking Camaros Chevy sold because of that movie. Because those things were fucking everywhere for a while.
Tons.
I mean, I hated the color, but but yeah, that
just to get
those things
attention.
were
The idea is
around
to get attention.
forever.
The idea is to get attention. My name is Hot Rod. Big French fucking accent. Like, yeah.
Oui.
Something like that, yeah. I can't do the accents. You do the accents in this family. I can't do them.
But yeah, RC hanging out the side of the fucking VW bus, blasting people.
Yeah, when they shoot a fucking missile through it, she's like, dude, sideways.
Yeah, just
turn sideways and just watch
through.
it go straight. It's like got that Matrix moment, like, ugh.
Oh yeah, that like rolling fight scene where they're like falling down the Prime and Scourge are like falling down the mountain and everyone else is just driving around it, and it's like that was pretty cool. And yeah, homeboy with the fucking tow truck like grabbing people with the chains and slinging them around and shit. I'm like,
yeah, he was an asshole. Oh,
when fucking Bumblebee shows up and like fucks him up, like cuts his arm off and then takes his like wrecking ball chain and just like smashes him in the face with it.
That was pretty good.
It's like payback, bitch.
You have fucked with the wrong ones. We just hold ourselves to a higher standard. We can relax that standard once in a while and rip your fucking spine out of your back for you.
I just want to see John Goodman's Transformer return. Because that was the one that was always smoking a cigar and had the big chain gun.
Yeah, but he was falling apart. Of course, this is supposed to be before all of that, so maybe he would be in a little better shape initially.
Right, he'll show up later on if they eventually tie this back into the the Buff movies.
LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf.
But yeah, I definitely want to see G.I. Joe.
I wouldn't have minded if they kept Shia
awesome.
if he hadn't become such a fucking problem. He hadn't become such an idiot. And then you got Megan Fox gone because...
I don't know, he just like... By the third movie, he had no reason to be there. Like, he like literally like did not affect the outcome of that movie whatsoever.
Did.
Like the first two movies, they needed him for something.
No,
the third
they
movie, he
needed
was
him
just
in the
there.
Third one too. No, they needed him in the third one too because he was the only reason the army went back in.
Still, he was kind of, by the end, he was just a waste.
No, he wasn't.
Yes.
No, he wasn't. No, you're wrong. His girlfriend was a waste. That little blonde was a waste of space. But...
That was the second.
Third. Megan Fox was in the first two.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
That was just eye candy. She was there to be pretty. That was all she was there to do. Cause...
I mean, she was like a Victoria's Secret model.
Oh, yeah, that's all she was there to do, was be pretty.
Oh. Hell, even freaking Wahlberg was like, had a purpose.
Well, so did he. So did him.
Oh.
So did Shia. Shia LaBeouf had a purpose. He saved Optimus Prime's life more than once. He had a purpose.
Nah. I'm just... All right, how does this one rank up to... Because you're more of a fan of the original 4 movies. Like 5, however many. Fuck it. Where does this stack up in the stack of Transformers movie? Where do you rate this one?
Okay.
Because I've liked Bumblebee in this one better than the last. The first Transformers movie was good, but I think these rank higher than the previous Transformers movies, like, or at least like the last couple.
The Bumblebee movie was all right. It was good. I understand the purpose for it. You have to find a gateway into this whole
new
world and whatever.
Prequel universe.
Yeah, this whole universe has to have some kind of introduction, and it's fun. There wasn't much action in Bumblebee. You have to have... The more Transformers you have, the more action you have.
The opening fight scenes on Cybertron before he escaped Earth were pretty badass. It's like that's like the only time we've seen like Cybertron like in live action. Mm-hmm. Well, as we're kind of wrapping this up, I'm
a fan. I want more Transformers.
So do you think predictions for the future? Do you think we get G.I. Joes versus Decepticons or Transformer or Autobots helping G.I. Joe take down Cobra?
You get both.
Because they alluded to a war that we don't see.
You get Cobra with Decepticons paired up, and then Autobots and G.I. Joe paired up. Because, good guys and bad guys.
True enough. Get a little bit of both. The Joes get their Transformers, and, Cobra Commander has to make a deal with Megatron,
and then Gypsy Danger gets brought in because you learn from the Transformers how to build these big exoskeletons, and the more robots you have, the better it is. All the robots. We want them all.
So final thoughts on this here cigar. I gotta say I like it. They're a little, like I said, it's a limited edition, so they're going to be a little bit pricier than what I normally buy. These go for, I think it was $22. MSRP, I think, is like $20. But it's good construction. It's been consistent throughout. It's a little so I'm not good at like picking out the individual flavors. Brad's much better at
Has
that.
a more refined palate.
I'm just like either I like it or I don't. But yeah, I like it. It's a little bit peppery, and I do like a peppery cigar. But it's
See, there's the problem right there. Your palate has been so blown out by the mass amount of pepper and spice and jalapeno and heat. Like the fucking salsa last night. Jesus Christ.
But this, I mean, it's a little earthy, a little peppery, but there's not been a whole lot of like transitional flavors. It's kind of like how it is at the start is kind of, it's maintained a consistent flavor throughout, and it's, well, consistent. I mean, there's not a big transition. So if you like a cigar that kind of gives you a flavor transition as you go, this one maybe not it. But if you like just a good solid smoke,
well, I mean, you know
especially
what you're
for the 4th of July,
it stays that way. That's not a bad thing.
Go pick yourself up one, because I definitely recommend this while they're still available. And with that, we'll be right back with some science. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds Podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.